The reproduction of this content is not allowed without the express written consent of EBH Fitness LLC. We're back. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 8 Coaches Wrap-Up as we're joined here by Franklin High School head coach Ruben Torres. Coach, thank you for joining us, and welcome to Borderland Sports Report.
Hey, thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you coming on, especially after a tough loss you guys had on Friday. But I think it lends to the resiliency that your team will show as they go back the next week. Good, bad, or indifferent, show up, and I appreciate you in taking that and bringing that to this as well to show your players that you still got to show up even in defeat. So I thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So let's jump on this game from this past week. We had talked last week about some of the things that you guys had concerns about, the back end of your defense for sure. What I don't want to say what happened, but kind of like what was some of the things that broke down for you guys that you practiced, but it just didn't translate into the game?
Well, I think, first and foremost, I want to congratulate Eastwood, their coaching staff, their players, their community. They played extremely well. From their quarterback to their running back, their offensive line did an outstanding job, their receiving core. So my hat's off to them. For us defensively, I think that was, obviously there wasn't a lot of bright spots to really, highlight or take away from that game. I mean, I felt like we just got outplayed and out executed. We did a very, very poor job of, lining up right just from the jump. And so, kind of going back and forth and looking at our calls on defense and what we were calling, there just wasn't a translation from the calls to what was being done on the field. And, they got up on us quick. They did a great job offensively of using the clock and keeping it away from our offense. And then really when we got the ball on offense, we didn't help ourselves very much either. I thought our offensive line played really well. Of course, our running back, Ernie and Trey played well. We didn't get any help at all from our quarterback. We missed a lot of wide open throws early and some critical situations that I think would have, put us in a better position to score and not give them the ball back so quickly, as well as, give our defense some time to rest on the sideline. And so, I was really disappointed just with, our overall effort. And, to sum it up, we just didn't play well as a team. And I feel like we're much better than what we showed. But we got to put this one behind us and move on to the next one. There's still a lot to play for. When you look at playoff seeding and finishing the season strong and with some momentum going into the playoffs. And I do believe our kids will bounce back. I believe our coaches will make the proper adjustments and things to get us right. But, sitting here, our performance, like I said, just not lining up right is completely unacceptable. And again, I don't take anything away at all from Eastwood. I thought they were prepared. They came to play. They played a really clean game and executed. They got some big stops on defense when they needed to. So huge credit to them and Coach Lopez. But bottom line, we got to get better, and what we did last Friday was unacceptable.
Got you. So I got to ask the question. So going into the season, just me personally, wasn't sold on Kingston Jeffries. Over the last two games, that young man has changed my mind. And after seeing him play from the other sideline, what is your takeaway from that young man?
Well, I think you see it on film. He's definitely gotten better every week. I think his confidence and his command of the offense has grown. Um, and I mean, as a coach, and I'm sure Coach Lopez will agree with this. That's what you want to see from all your players, but especially at the quarterback position. I thought he threw the ball well on time, kept his eyes downfield when he was under pressure, made some throws under duress. When he had to tuck the ball and run, he did a great job of protecting the ball. And so his just overall command of the offense and understanding and what they're asking him to do was very evident. But he's put back to back great performances against two very good teams. And so, just as a quarterback fan myself, just to see him mature and grow as a quarterback, I think is great, for him and for Eastwood, but also just for the city. But I was really impressed with his touch throws, his timing, his deep ball. It was a little windy Friday night, and that didn't seem to bother him at all. So he's really having a great turning into a really great season for him.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because I was looking at some video of him, and I think last year on JV, and even when they brought him up to varsity, he played some wide receiver. And so, because I was kind of surprised at how fast he was on the field, and then I saw that, and I was like, okay, I got it. Um, let's touch on you guys on the offensive side. You mentioned Ernie, and we were kind of talking about this. That young man has put together one heck of a season, breaking the city single season rushing touchdown record. Was a big accomplishment for him, and kudos to you and your staff for creating the environment and the opportunity for him to do that. And I think that we were just looking, the state single season rushing touchdown record is 58. He's got 3 games left, and that's not that big of a reach from the numbers he's put up. How do you guys? And I don't think that even comes up as a goal, but with that looming, how do you guys now look at that along with continuing to matriculate through this season, because you guys still can get a home playoff game?
Yeah, that's correct. I think that we've got enough experience on our coaches and staff that when we go in and we're game planning and as we get into the game, we're not really thinking, and Ernie doesn't think about it either, about any of the single, potential goals. In fact, going into that game, I didn't even realize how close he was to breaking that record.
I didn't either.
Um, I found out right before halftime. I mean, right before the game started. But for our team goals, I mean, obviously we've got to be able to run the ball, and we've been able to do that, and we've been consistent in our approach, and that won't change. But I think one of the things that you know has been obvious to us, and it really bit us in the butt, was not being able to throw the ball and be balanced. Um, and so for us to go on and get into the playoffs and to make a run in the playoffs and win some playoff games, we've got to be able to, pass the ball, whether it's a short game or the long game. We can't just, go out there and live with, handing the ball off and missing wide open receivers downfield. And so, that'll be a even bigger point of emphasis this week in practice. And like I said, I think Lucas has done a great job all year in managing the game and being our field commander. And it was just a bad game all around for us as a team. But to your point, I think Ernie is doing something very special. Um, but keeping him healthy and the guys around him blocking and kind of paving the way for him to run, it has really been a big key to that. And then with his health, there is a lot of times where he's breaking tackles and carrying guys. So that's a testament to his strength and the kind of shape he's in. But right now our goal is to get into the playoffs, get that 1 seed, and make a run in the playoffs. And I think as long as that's our focus, the stats will take care of themselves and the individual accomplishments. But for us as a staff, we're just trying to win games and put guys in the best situation, and a lot of times that's giving Ernie the ball and running the football. And so thankfully that's just kind of worked itself out, and it's been relatively smooth up to this point.
Got you. So let's flip the page. You guys have Socorro next week at the SAC. What are some of the things that you guys are looking to build upon as you go into that game?
Well, the first thing is defensively, we got to line up right. And I feel like every week, whether it's either the communication or we're not lining up right. And bottom line is we've got to do our job, and we're not doing that. And it's starting to get a little frustrating from my point of view, why we're not doing that. And so that's the that's kind of the secret sauce we're looking for this week is for this stuff to click. I think Socorro's been playing very well.
Yeah.
You look at what they're doing on offense and defense. They're a sound football team. The schemes they're running are sound. They're getting a hat for a hat in the run game. They're lining up well on defense. We kind of expect them to load the box and sell out and make us throw the ball or prove that we can throw the ball. I thought Eastwood did a great job of running a lot more one high and some balanced sets and getting their safeties in the box. And so, you look at Eastwood or Socorro and who they've played this year in those games. I mean, they're in it. And, a break here or a bad break there, they probably could have a win or two more than what they have. And so I can tell you this, if we go out there and play like we did Friday, Socorro will beat us. We've got to come ready to play and do our job and get better at the things that have been really kind of a thorn in our side all year.
Yeah, I don't know when Socorro won their last district game, but we've had this conversation before. I think this will be the year that Socorro gets a district win. You don't want to be that team that it happens to. But I do see them getting a district win. They got 4 games left. I see them getting 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be the one that gives it to them, or that they earn it against, I should say.
Yeah.
But they've been in some games, where in district, as a matter of fact, where they could have pulled some games out. And so I think they're right there. I think Coach Connell and his staff have done a great job, and they do a great job over there in preparing their kids. And their kids aren't going to back down from anybody. They're going to play their heart out. They have a lot of community support, a lot of pride there still at Socorro High School, being the flagship of that district. And so, like I said, if we don't come out ready to play, they very easily could beat us. So we've got to be on top of our game and get back on the winning track and get this stuff cleaned up yesterday, and start playing much better football, just all around.
Yeah, because was it Adrian Hunt is having a really good season. Their quarterback's having a very decent season as well, Antonio Montez. And so what are you guys looking at as far as stagnating that offense? Because they do have some weapons on the offensive side. What are you guys looking to do this week to slow that offense down?
Yeah, their running backs, they got two running backs that are really good. Quarterback's playing well. He's made some good throws down the field. They do run some really nice switch concepts in their vertical passing game, and their quarterback looks really comfortable and throwing those balls, and he's accurate. And so, it just goes back to what we've been talking about. I mean, if we're misaligned and we're not communicating in coverage, they're going to hit us. I don't think it's any secret to us or to anybody that when you're going to play the Franklin Cougars right now, you're going to attack them through the air.
Yeah,
So, but they are committed to the run, and so we have to be able to at least make them one-dimensional and throw on the ball and get some stops, especially on third down, put them in some long yardage situations. But to be quite honest with you, if we're not lining up right and playing coverage with the purpose and intention to get stops, they'll go up and down the field on us, just like Eastwood did. So we've got to get better. We've got to get better from top to bottom. They're going to load the box on us on offense, and we've got to be able to complete some balls downfield to loosen that up.
gotcha. Well, Coach, I appreciate you jumping on as always to do this weekly wrap up with us. Is there anything you want to say in closing?
No, man, just like every week, man, I appreciate everything you're doing for the kids of El Paso, for our sport, for high school sports. And it's crazy now. We're getting to the end of district play,
I know.
and so things are starting to kind of shake themselves out, and every game is that much more meaningful and bigger. For us here at Franklin, every game is, we've got to approach this like every game's a playoff game. Because the reality of it is we put ourselves in a hole, and we've got to dig ourselves out and get better.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining us. Like I said, continue to watch, folks, continue to support. And I'll keep saying this. Thank you to the 109,000 viewers who came on the platform last week. Continue to come back. We do have a second show today. We'll be bringing on